The chat.
Okay.
They're watching again. All right. So, guys, if you have any questions, just pop open the chat here. Drop your questions in there. Anything, feedback, anything you want to say, that's where you do it. And we'll go through it as we're going through these analyses here. So I'm going to start sharing. Just actually enable that for me, and we can go ahead. And we're not going to be necessarily setting up new, trade scenarios and analyzing. We're just going to review pretty much how this week played out and essentially how accurate the Sunday analysis was. And we're just going to cover this past week here.
Here, I just gotta join on my computer. We got a bunch of people joining in.
Yeah, I still can't share yet. Gold prediction. Yeah, we'll get into gold. We'll cover that. And then again, I'm not going to do too much forecasting on where the pairs are going to go next. We're going to take the weekend to relax, come back Sunday with fresh eyes, and then tear down the charts again, and then put out 2 new trade scenarios for each pair, as we normally do. Oh, there you go. Now you're the host.
Like Nick said, guys, post inside of the chat if you have any questions throughout the call. We're gonna get Nick started here. He'll start sharing up, and yeah, this is just our follow up from Sunday. We do the Sunday Market Blitz where we cover all of our analysis. This week was very up and down. My analysis personally did not play out, as well as I had liked to, but we'll cover everything. See how we could have did things differently, and at the end of the day, it's just a free lesson into basically our swing trading strategy. So the only thing we're going to focus on in here is our swing trading strategy. We'll go over how we do the levels and everything like that, and we'll just see how everything played out. So yeah, why don't you go ahead? Oh, I think we got him muted.
There we go. All right, cool. So we're going to start off on DXY here, but I'm going to just open up the trading view analysis because this is where it's all posted. This is where you guys have access to all week. And this is pretty much, oh, hold on 1 second here, guys. All right, so this is, wow. What the hell? All right, so this is where we post all the analyses on Sunday. You guys can come back into here, click this, and then you can play it forward throughout the week. So that way it's valid. Okay, so overall, we were very bullish on DXY here. We pretty much had 2 bullish scenarios. We were waiting for it to either continue with the range or pull back to a deeper level and a more significant level this monthly here at 91.5. So let's see how this played out. Again, we were very much bullish, and as we can see, it just continued with the range. So that means lower time frame bullish trend, 4-hour continuation of the range. So now we'll play this forward next week, analyze Sunday, and pretty much it's going to be we're going to play either a break of this range or again, same thing, continuation, which means we'll get a reversal and then a short-term bearish trend back down to this support of the range here. So this played out not the most likely scenario. I definitely wanted to pull back more just so we can catch some more momentum, more volume, and potentially get a larger move. But it went with the secondary scenario and just continued with the range. And sometimes that happens. So because this pushed up, a lot of these major pairs are going to react in a way, considering a bullish dollar on the lower time frame. So let's see how this played out on the chart. Okay, very easy to see here. 4-hour time frame, just played in the range. So let's see what the daily looks like. Kind of at resistance here. Easily to see that it's still in a range here on the daily too. So, yep, we'll see next week. We'll reanalyze this, come up with some new scenarios. But let's jump over to our first tradable pair, AU. And because the dollar has been pretty much bullish, we can see here that AU has been bearish. They complement each other that way. They're inversely correlated. So very easy to see. And just like we saw on AU, we have a major level, or on DXY, we also have a major level here on AU. 0.76, our weekly. Once we broke that, retested, confirmed the lower high below, and that we were definitely bearish on even the daily time frame as well as this 4 hour. Then we get lower lows, lower highs again, and we were pretty much pulling back to test structure here at 0.749. We're expecting reversal and continuation down. That was the most likely scenario. This was, the closest trade to happening, because all we needed here is a few confirmations, nice reversal, good conviction to the downside, MA cross, and then we were into a trade. Or if it pushed higher, we just wanted to confirm this break, with a higher low. So price action is saying, okay, it has conviction. It's forming characteristics of an uptrend, and it's likely that price action will push into a more significant resistance zone like this weekly here. Okay, so that was the second scenario. Let's see how it played out. Okay, it rejected perfectly. It actually gave us a nice little double top, M pattern, good volume there. Definite opportunities on this entry here off the double top, and then also here on this lower high, good conviction on some engulfings and such. And then it played right down to our 0%, which is 0.74. So this is good now because we can play it two ways. Either, going into next week, we can play it two ways. Very easy to see. When we're at a support level, we're looking for a break or bounce, and we'll cover that on Sunday. Okay, pretty clear to see. Let's jump over to the live chart real quick, just to get a nice live action kind of example. We see the MAs have caught up now. This is good. We're definitely at a low. So yeah, looking for a break or bounce. Minor range here going into next week, but we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully we get a little more conviction and less chop. All right, let's go back over to the trading view charts and go to the next one, which is AJ. Hold on 1 second here, guys. Okay, so much like AU, we can see that AJ is also overall bearish. And we're looking for this to continue in that way, right? Just a little more volume here on AJ. And we're looking for a reversal, very similar, but we are at a key resistance as well. So this is a good confluence area. It's pulling back the test structure. This was a broken lower low here. Definite level of support that was, and then we're pulling back to it. So tons of confirmations. This is the most likely trade scenario. And we just need, again, a few confirmations to really confirm that. And then we were expecting, if it went bullish, conservatively, we want to break above the most significant level for the 4-hour time frame here, which would be this weekly. Makes sense, right? 83.25. If we see a higher low above that, strong characteristics of a bullish trend, especially moving through a level with that significance. So that would be ideally what we want to see to go bullish. That's definitely the conservative options. However, for different strategies, if you're on a lower time frame, 15-minute, whatever, you definitely could catch some other trades. But for me, for the swing trading strategy, this is really what I need to see to change my bias. Okay, so let's play it forward, see how it played out. Pushed up right to this level, reversed very nicely. Signs of a head and shoulders in here. You guys can see left shoulder, right shoulder. Here's the head. Neckline lines up right with 82.2, which is the 4-hour support level. So that was pretty nice to see. Two possible entries on the right shoulder after a nice bearish setup, right? And then, of course, after a break of the neckline itself with a retest, you can see there is a nice little entry there on that doji as well. And it's maybe even before on this candle, depending on what the 1-hour confirmations were. But either way, still played out pretty well. It dropped a good amount of pips and looks like it's going to continue this way. So next week, we're going to come up with 2 more scenarios. Again, break or bounce. I mean, this is now a key level. If we see that retested, we'd be interested in looking for reversals from there. Or it could just continue with this momentum and continue with the active trade down towards our negative fib level down here, negative 27. So looking pretty good. I mean, this kind of happened later in the week, but this volume's holding pretty strong right now. So let's do the live chart real quick, jump over to that, see where the MAs are, see if we can't spot something else. Okay, let's square this up. All right, so yeah, MAs have caught up. We're rejecting them, the blue one at least. And then it looks like it's going to continue lower. So this is a good trade. What would need to happen for us to change our bias here? Again, I'll cover this more in detail on Sunday, but essentially we need to see some higher lows, breaks of the lower highs here. So this would be the first setup we'd be looking for to change our mind. So it's got a lot to prove for us to consider it bullish in any way. So that's good to see. So definitely strong momentum here. That's AJ. Let's move over to UJ. Okay, this one was looking super strong. Very, very good setup here. Overall, very bullish as we saw, right? Very strong channel. It did pull back after we had spotted it was pretty overextended and at a key resistance level, very large one, 111.5. And then it dropped from there, but it's still holding trend, right? It dropped just to support of 110, which seems like a good amount. I mean, this was definitely a lot of pips, but it's still bullish, right? Nice reversal from 110. Now we just want to see a few more confirmations. We're waiting for that higher low to form and then a little more confidence in a long setup to kind of continue with this channel. Or we're waiting for a total break of 110 and a lower high to confirm that. So let's see how it played out. Okay, so we're still bullish. We did give us a higher low, not where we wanted it. We definitely wanted above 110 a little bit more, but this is a good sign, right? Still holding trend. Seems like it's kind of consolidating a little bit. You know, I'm going to assume there's going to be a little bit of pattern here, a little more chop, and then conviction. So that's what we'll be waiting for, and we'll cover that in a couple days on Sunday and see how this looks. But yeah, definite strong candidate for a long setup here. Could be a good amount of pips again from about 110 to 111.5. 150 pip area. That's a good amount and could be a really good risk to reward. So this is going to be pretty high up on the list going into next week. I could already tell. So that'll be good. Let's just check the live chart, see where the MAs are. All right, yeah. So this is kind of a narrowing of price action, right? So we have lower high here, higher low here, you know, AKA consolidation, waiting for price action to kind of take off and choose a direction. So that's where we're at now. We'll see next week again. But yes, still very valid, both of these setups. Let's move over to EJ. Okay, so this one was looking pretty good too. Although we were anticipating a pullback. I mean, as we saw here, it dropped to support 0% right here. 130 flat, again, nice psychological level. Bounced off that as we saw it did before once. And now we're looking for structure to be tested, right? It's very likely that price action will come back to this area where we saw this break, right? It'll test 130.13, and then we're interested in reversals from that area, MA crosses, you know, just conviction and bearish setups, right? Because we're overall bearish. We're looking to ride the trend. So this was the most likely scenario, right? This trade is it's more probable that this is going to happen before this long setup up here. So that's why this is blue. This is why this is the likely setup. And again, you know, very in line with trend. So that was that trade setup. The bullish scenario was seeing a higher low above 132 flat, which is a very strong resistance level, 4-hour level. And if we did see that, you know, strong higher low, good bullish setups, that would be enough to kind of change our bias. But let's see how it played out. Okay, so big rejection. 1 second. All right, so big rejection from this level. It actually fell short of 131.3. Didn't test that level, but we did kind of find a minor support level here right at 131. So reverse from that, nice evening star, and then a nice bearish variation, even breaking this lower time frame higher low. So there were some entries there, and then we would target back down towards 0%. But what's interesting here is that if you look to the left, look how price action reacted at this zone in the past. As soon as it touched it, it wicked heavily, right? It pulled back super hard, pushed way, way up. Now we're pushing lower, and you can see that price action is getting more comfortable at this level, right? It's spending more time in this area before it's rejecting aggressively. And then look what happens. The pushback is about half the volume as this past one, probably even less, and then pushes again lower, and now it's spending more time here. So this is just showing me that this is very bearish. It's showing strong characteristics that it's going to break this support level here, and then we'll be heading even lower. So this will be an interesting one as well for next week. Definitely going to be high on the list. And yeah, we're just waiting for classic setups, and we'll cover that more Sunday. So yeah, this is I definitely feel strongly about this 130 zone breaking and pushing lower, but we'll see. Looks good. It's good from what we can tell so far. Let's jump to the live chart just to get some MA perspective. Yeah, so same thing, you know, definitely consolidating right now. MAs are right on price action. We're spending a lot of time in this area, so it's going to be interesting to see. You know, maybe one scenario that I'd be interested would be looking like this. push maybe to touch this zone, maybe some ranging in here, and then we can get a nice clear breaker retest, because ranges are super easy to trade, right, guys? We're waiting for a higher low above, lower high below, classic break and retest scenarios. Gotta love that. And those are super easy to see. All right, so let's finish with the gold prediction. It's literally the first comment in chat for this session, so we're going to spend a little time on this one. So I actually analyzed this in the daily time frame because it was moving so slow, and because I really wanted to kind of be extra patient with this one. I wanted to be super methodical, wait till I see some sort of setup on the daily, then drop down, and then really zero in on price action, because I want to see that this has conviction, and I'm not just looking at consolidation for hours on end, right? So we're here on the daily. That's why I did this. And every once in a while, when a pair is moving extra slow or it's just not super clear in terms of price action, I'll always jump up timeframes and then wait for something and then drop down. Okay, down to the 4 hour, and then kind of play it week through the week. All right, so overall, we were pretty bearish. I mean, we know 1800, this zone right here, to be a very key level. Every time we've kind of been above it, we've rejected it, and it's kind of hold price action bullish. And then once we move below it, it's kind of held price action bearish for a while. So we were pulling back through it. However, the price action was pretty low. I mean, there's a lot of wicks here, a lot of potential rejection. And then again, we're between the MAs, 38.2 fib level. So it's an area of confluence. I just wanted to wait until I saw something serious. Ideally, to continue with this bearish trend here, and since we broke 1800, we're looking for the lower high here to confirm it with strong bearish setups. So this was ideal. This was the most ideal setup. I wanted to see this play out, and then we would target down towards lower support levels. Or if it pushed above our weekly 1825, higher lows to confirm a new bullish trend. So that's how I was kind of thinking about this. Just kind of waiting for the market to show me something. So let's see how it played out. Not too much volume. Again, I mean, this one is definitely better than these last few days. I mean, this one candle kind of eclipsed the last week in terms of volume. So that's good. That means we might be seeing, an actual conviction, which is what we want to see to enter a trade, which means we can drop down timeframes again, start plotting trades. Okay, so we actually hit the weekly, which is good. Nice evening star confirmation. So now this trade is still valid, right? It's looking like a reversal. Waiting for a couple more confirmations, MA cross ideally, and then we could be in for a nice short opportunity. I mean, good amount of pips down towards this 1720 handle from now, roughly 1,000 pips, a little bit more even. So yeah, massive trade potential there. Or again, this is still valid as well. If we see a higher low above, then we may be changing our ideas entirely. Right, so this one's going to take a little more time to play out. Probably still going to analyze this in the daily time frame this week for Sunday, for you guys next week, but we'll see. We will see. All right, so those are the pairs that I analyzed for you guys on Sunday. Some of them played out, I mean, pretty good as far as the trade paths. AU, AJ did well. DXY just continued ranging, but it went with the secondary option, so that's pretty good as well. UJ didn't do much of anything. EJ, waiting. Gold, waiting. So not bad. Still at least 50% accuracy for this past week. Not bad. All right, so let's see. Angelo, are you good to go? Are you still
Yeah, I'm good to go.
okay, cool. All right, guys. So yeah, another review for me. I'll pass it off to Angelo. Let's see how he did this week. Let's see what he's got for us, guys.
Yeah, this week has been extremely up and down. For those that have been following the analysis for the past few weeks, they've been really profitable. This week was a bit less for me personally, but you know what? Things happen. So I think I'm down 1% this week on my account. So let's go down. Let's just go over all the analysis that I did on Sunday. We'll start with, let's see. We'll bring up some of the ideas that we had posted, and we'll just review going into the week, what were the ideas, and then pretty much just how they played out. So let's get started with NZD USD here. So on the weekly, we were seeing that price was pushing down 3 weeks ago, and then we had these 2 or 3 weeks of consolidation right here. So we'll just make this a little bigger. So this is what I'm talking about. Price had this large push down. We pushed back up, and then we started to hit that wall. So we had these 2 spinning top candles in a row. So the assumption on this one was that price was going to continue to the downside and retest this like 68,500 area. if we zoom out, which I'll show you in a second, actually on the chart, but if we were to zoom out like a bit more, and here we're on the 4 hours, so it's not going to do it justice at all, but I'll hop on the chart in a second and show you. Basically, I was looking for price to just find more liquidity down at this weekly support level and then start to reverse to the upside. So going into the week, pretty much had two ideas. Either price was going to reject this resistance level, or we were going to get that like break and retest and then go long on this. But as you can see, overall, the trend is very bearish. So it's on the 4 hour time frame, just overall bearish move. So what we saw early in the week was we did get that rejection. So originally, to open up the week with this trade, I'll just pull up my chart here. We had gotten into a trade on this one actually on the live session. So this was the original move. So the original move we had entered like literally right here, and price had come about 76 pips in profit. So if you had entered that, obviously you would have came into some profit. It would have been about a 1-to-1 risk reward. So if you risked 1%, you would have made 1% on that. But as you can see, I didn't close. Normally what I do with the swing trading ideas, the swing trading strategy, is when it goes past 1-to-1. So when price moved pretty much to this point, we don't want to let this turn into a loser. So we're going to evaluate this level, either we're going to close or we're going to say, okay, if price comes back above this resistance, I do not want to realistically be in the trade. So as we can see here, price came all the way back up, and I wasn't watching the chart, and price literally shot up. And this is why we want to just move stops to break even if we come into this much profit, because look, this thing shot all the way back up. It didn't hit stop loss, but it's giving us a run for the money now, and it's also sort of looking like it's going to reverse. So as we marked previously, we had price rejecting this level and then going to the downside. But scenario number two is it's certainly playing out now. We had that clear break and retest, and now we're holding above this support level. So now we're holding above this support level. So ultimately next week, we might actually see some upward movement on this one. But for this week, kind of just went sideways. Again, if you did enter on Sunday, you would have made 75 pips. You would have been up 75 pips. But I personally didn't move my stops to break even, which normally I always do. And that actually resulted in me being in some drawdown on this. And if I bring back on, you can see right now I'm in 25 pips drawdown. So I'm going to pretty much just close this one because, there's nothing telling me that it could head to the downside. Sure, I could head up to the daily time frame and we can still see, certainly it is still pretty bearish, but look how it's holding at this support level right now. That's not something that exactly I want to see. Even coming up to the weekly now, instead of a spinning top, like we kind of hit this level and now we're looking to end the week kind of bullish, which could mean this thing could then swing up to the upside. So I'm just not super confident in holding this trade anymore. So I'm, gonna just close this order. So I'm gonna take that away. We're gonna take that off, and then Sunday we'll do our fresh analysis. And the reason we don't do the analysis now is because literally the week just ended. Obviously long week this past week, and looking at charts, whatever. It's best to just take a break. Take today off, take tomorrow off. If you are doing the swing trading, and then come back on Sunday, look at it with fresh eyes. Normally, lately I've been just starting from scratch like every single week, and that way you can kind of have like an unbiased approach to what's going on. So that's NZD USD. Let's go next to GU. I pretty much had one idea on this one. It came down to we had a break of the trend line on the 4 hour time frame, and then we had a pop above this resistance level. We're still testing this, so I was not going to long it here. I was going to more wait for a retest and then go long. If we look at the weekly time frame as well, we can see that last week had formed a bullish engulfing. So that's also what was prompting me to look for potential long. And then let's just see, obviously, how it played out. So GU ended up coming back for that retest, and really this would have been the signal. I mean, we had like a inverted hammer candle and then another bullish candle following, and this thing just kind of died out. It didn't play out. It's definitely followed the rules, for the trade. So I'm only going to look at it from this point. Let's just head over and check it out. So pretty much this was where we were looking to take that trade. This was the original long position tool. And if we were looking at it from this standpoint right here, I mean, shit, that's, according to the rules, it has multiple confirmations, has the retest, it's what I normally will take as a trade. Obviously, the trade shit the bed. And as soon as this happened right here, this is when we really should have pulled out. So once we had the break and then the retest, and price failed to respect this level, instead it closed below here, that's when we should have, got out of the trade. And then from that point on, as you can see for the rest of the week, pretty much we should have been taking shorts on GU right as this happened. So we had a break of this support level. We tested the resistance. It failed ultimately. And then we had a clean break, retest. And then let's see if it came up. Then it came up another time. So at this point, this is kind of where we'd be looking to actually enter on this once it comes back up right here. And then let's just ultimately see how it played out for the week. And then it ended up shooting down. So that's where it's at right now. So we can clearly see like a new trend has formed ever since this broke. So ever since this broke, now it's been kind of in this downward trend. And we're seeing it just actually broke this support level as well. So, again, we'll see how the analysis shapes up on Sunday. If I was looking at it right now, the next move would certainly be like, okay, let's look for the retest of this level to continue this whole entire little bearish trend here on the 1 hour time frame. But obviously, when it comes to the 4 hour, when it comes to the daily, there's more, kind of more that comes into this, but it is looking bearish, and it does look like it's kind of destined to retest this lower liquidity level, which is this weekly, which if we zoom out is just based on support. Zoom out even more based on support here, resistance here. So we're coming now back into that zone down there. So we'll see. This week still has to close. We still have 3 hours left. I don't expect much movement, but look how that's now a bearish engulfing candle. So next week, GU might shape up for some short opportunities. So let's go next to USD CHF. Pretty much on the weekly time frame, we were seeing that we had price had shot down. We're in this bearish trend. And then same as GU, I mean, I was pretty much looking at this bearish engulfing after this big shoot up, and it was telling me, okay, sellers are kind of stepping back in. Price might then shoot to the downside on this one. And then all I did was map out like, where are my two key levels? This was kind of my first level right here based on resistance. And I'll get on the chart in a second and go over this. And then based on all the support right here, and then we had the little retest, and then ultimately price rejected it. So I was saying that was kind of an early move. And this one I just got stopped out on too. So this one ended up coming back, hitting stops, and then kind of reversing. Now I'm going to just pull up the chart because we're going to go over kind of how I entered on this, because I actually didn't enter a full 1% on this. And I'm just going to explain why. Pretty much we had, going into the week, we had this right here, which was nice, which was good. And I was saying like, this is definitely a support level, then turned into resistance. Look at all this resistance here. So definitely an area to expect some rejection from, which we had. We broke, retested it, rejected it. And then I was looking to see, okay, if price comes back into here and starts to show rejection, that's when I'm going to short it again. We got some initial rejection here, and then it just kind of crapped down on us, shot right back up. So again, this is a trade that I'm going to take every single time, just because I do have an edge when it comes to mapping out these zones. Just because that one was invalidated doesn't mean that it was the wrong idea, whatever. It's just the same kind of idea over and over and over again. So now that price is shooting up, zone number 2 was ultimately to take a short once we hit this level. And the reason being is because we have resistance here, support here, another overlapping zone. This is exactly how we teach to draw your support and resistance levels. So when price comes in here, there's going to be like a liquidity grab. There's going to be rejection most likely based on how previously it reacted in these areas. We can see rejection here, rejection there, and then support here, support here. So I'm expecting price to react to this area, but that's next week, for us to see. So that was USD CHF. Let's take a look at USD CAD. So on the weekly, it was pretty clear, what was going on with this one. We're in a downtrend. We had a support level right here that then turned into resistance, but we had this like huge inverted hammer candle right here, which normally means that more buyers are stepping in. So pretty much we're looking at either two ideas here, either a break, retest, go short, or just like a continuation of this whole entire bullish move. And as you can see here, it was ended up playing out pretty clean. And it really just comes down to the zone. Like the zone we had marked obviously was an area that price was rejecting. Like this is an area where a lot of buyers and sellers are stepping in. There's a lot of demand. So let's just go ahead and pull up UCAD on the chart. Boom. So we had, idea number one invalidated, didn't work out, or should I say idea number two, and then overall the continuation just of the move ended up playing out. And if we just zoom out, what is this entire freaking thing based out of? It's that literally how strong this thing is based on like the weekly. So this thing's really based on the weekly time frame. It's based on this area right here, and then this area right here. So this is the rejection, then we had the rejection right there. So that's how I mapped that one out. And then all the way down to the 4 hour, you could just see how strong this ended up being. Support, 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 support right there over and over and over again. So ultimately, once price kind of formed, let's just go back to Sunday, which was pretty much here. Should change my time zone back. So we had Sunday was pretty much here. So yeah, it was like, okay, how is price going to react to this level? We found support. And then once this happens, it's clearly telling that this level is holding. So once price came back, because remember, we're only really trying to buy it in the zone. We're only really trying to buy in an area that would give us the best possible risk reward. So, I don't necessarily know if I, in the moment, would have bought it on a candle like this, where we're just falling on our face. But once we did have something like this, where it followed it up with like another bullish candle, this certainly could have been an area to buy from right here. Ideally, though, you literally get in on this. Like this is gonna sound crazy, but if you were really watching this, after it pushes up and then retest this is really where you want to get in on this because it's in the zone. You have a bullish engulfing. You're believing that this level is going to hold, and then the risk reward in that area becomes really fucking nice. And like, say you were to swing trade this, your targets realistically would be. Let's just bring on this. We probably would put stops. Let's see, your target number one would be up here. I mean, realistically, we probably would put stops somewhere in this area. We have the 618 here. We probably would put them like right in this area. And then as you can see, that means a 2-to-1 risk reward if we did make it up to that level. And then as you can see what happened, price came down. So this is another example where if price comes up, pretty much comes up to about 1.1, this is when I'd mostly be moving my stops to break even, at that point. Sure, if I did hold it, it would have played out for a much bigger trade. It would have ended up shooting to the upside, obviously. But just from like a risk management perspective, normally I will move my stops to break even after I do achieve that like 1% mark, just so my winner doesn't turn into a loser. So that's USD CAD. I think other than that, I'm just going to cover GJ really quickly because we did give some analysis on this. So GJ, like we didn't really take a trade on this session or anything like that because pretty much we had already been in like a trade idea on this one. So let's just go back to Sunday, which was right around here. All right, so last week we took the short on this engulfing. Obviously, a lot of people took shorts on this on GJ. If we zoom out, I mean, overall, we can clearly see that this thing has been trending down. Even the weekly time frame, you know, we had pretty much rejected this weekly level, which was a key level right here. As we zoom out, we rejected the fuck out of it, failed to engulf this. So this was just a retracement to me. And then last week kind of, you know, spooked us out because we had this large wick that covered. But as we come down to the daily, we can clearly still see that it is in a downtrend. And by that, I mean, we broke support here, retested as resistance, retested this level as resistance. So certainly was in a downtrend. So my entire idea for the week was I'm not going to take buys on GJ unless he gets above 153.7. And then ideally I wanted to take shorts once it got to this level. Just because like to me that appeared like it would have the most kind of liquidity. If we bring on like a supply zone right here and did this a little bit differently, we could have gotten this trade a little bit earlier. As you could see, price did come up relatively close to there. Again, I just want to grab this though when it does come into like a real zone. And the way that I'm marking this down, I'm looking at it 7 different ways. I'm looking at it like this could have been my level. This could have been my level. I could have brought these on, mapped out levels using this. Let me just do this. And no matter which way I shake it, this is my level. This is the area that I want to take this trade in. And price didn't get up there. Literally just didn't reach that level. It came close. I mean, you know, if you really were confident in this, you could have taken it right here. Came 6 pips away from getting up there. But yeah, you know, didn't get up there, so I didn't get in on the trade. But as you can see, you know, it obviously played out. So we had the right direction, which was fairly simple because it's bearish on multiple time frames. Ended up moving about 180 pips. So that was GJ. So that's pretty much all the analysis that I have for you guys. We just have like 1 or 2 announcements here. I'm going to see. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second and then reshare. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop in the chat. Let's come in here, share screen. All right, so we are going to be doing a free trial for the signals for this week. I'm about to post it in the Telegram. So free trial for the signals you'll get next week. You'll get full access to everything. And you guys in the beginning asking about the rapid signals group, pretty much how it works is we just give out the trades. So we give out the stop loss, the entry, the take profit, you know, what you should risk per trade. And then we're not really following them up just because we're not trying to clutter the chat. It's more just signals. There's literally 10 signals per day. I posted the results yesterday of all the signals that were taken for the month of June. So if you want to review that, you can go ahead and pull that up. All you need to do is come into the main Telegram group, go into the pinned message, and then right here it says results. So that's the results for the signals. The main announcement that I'm going to make though is we are going to be bringing the account management service back. We have collected about 6 months of results for it on FX Book. So we're fairly confident in it. The minimum deposit for the account management service is going to be 2,000. So I'm going to post some updates about that inside of the chat today. But there's only going to be 5 spots for it. It's going to be available this weekend. So I'm going to post updates about that. You know, I'll do a little video to cover all the risks involved. The FX Book link will be posted. So yeah, that's kind of the main update. I'll get that inside of there. And then just the freebie, if you guys haven't participate in the giveaway. We are doing poster giveaways now. So free poster to 3 participants. Just subscribe to us on YouTube for the Funded Trader, follow the Funded Trader Telegram, and then subscribe to the Forex League YouTube. That's where we'll post the replay for this, and then we'll be back on Sunday for the Sunday Market Blitz for next week's analysis.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So big updates, good stuff for you guys, good opportunities. And yeah, like Angela said, we'll see you guys again on Sunday. So enjoy the weekend. Don't work too hard, guys. Make sure you relax, get those energy levels back up, and yeah, let's get at it next week.
Yeah, like I said, take the time off. Tomorrow I'll be taking time off and then come back strong on Sunday.
That's the recipe. That's it
That's
right
it.
there.
That's it.
All right,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Take care.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.